If someone uses your past against you, say this: Stoic emotional mastery. Your past doesn't define you. How you face it does. There comes a moment in every life when the past knocks on the door again. It doesn't knock politely. It crashes in. Sometimes through a memory, sometimes through a person, sometimes through a single sentence that cuts deep. And suddenly, you're back there, in the place you swore you'd never return to. Maybe it's that mistake you made years ago, the one that cost you a dream, a friendship, a version of yourself you loved. Maybe it's the time you were naive, reckless, selfish, or broken. Or maybe it's a chapter you've already closed, until someone, out of bitterness or envy, decides to reopen it for you. They remind you who you used to be, not because they seek truth, but because your growth reminds them of what they haven't faced in themselves. And with a tone half pity, half contempt, they whisper, "You remember that, right? That's who you were." The weight of a weapon called memory. In that moment, something shifts inside you. Your chest tightens, not from guilt, but from the sting of betrayal, the realization that someone is trying to weaponize your past. And instinctively, we react. We defend, explain, justify. We say, "I've changed. I'm not that person anymore." But the harder we try to prove our evolution, the deeper we sink into their game, handing over our peace in exchange for their approval. Here's what the Stoics understood long before psychology ever had a name for it. When you react, you surrender control. When you stay calm, you reclaim your power. So today, let's learn the 3 Stoic responses that turn emotional traps into stepping stones of wisdom. Not through denial, but through dignity. Not through noise, but through stillness. Yes, that happened. The power of acceptance. The ego hates this sentence. It wants to erase, rewrite, and hide. But a Stoic knows that freedom begins the moment you stop running from what already is. When someone throws your past at you like a weapon, you failed that company. You ruined that relationship. You weren't there when it mattered. Look them calmly in the eye and say, "Yes, that happened." No excuses, no explanations, no shame. Because the moment you accept your past, you steal the only thing they wanted, your reaction. They expect you to flinch, to defend, to crumble. But instead, you stand still, and their weapon dissolves in midair. The truth is, people who use your past to hurt you aren't searching for truth. They're searching for control. And control only works if you hand them the keys to your emotions. Acceptance is not weakness. It's the ultimate strength. It says, "You cannot use what I've already made peace with." Seneca once wrote, "There is nothing more noble than standing before your own faults and saying, 'Yes, I did that, and I learned.'" The past loses its poison when you stop being ashamed of it. Your scars aren't signs of failure. They're proof of survival. I've learned from it, turning wounds into wisdom. This is where your story transforms. You are not the same person who made that mistake. Every heartbreak, every loss, every fall has reshaped you, like steel forged in fire. People who cling to your past only see who you were. They can't comprehend the thousands of quiet victories it took for you to become who you are. When they say, "You failed in your marriage. How can you speak about love?" you can answer, "Because I've been broken, I understand what love isn't and what it truly is." When they say, "You used to be lost. Who are you to guide others?" you can reply, "Because I was lost, I learned how to find the way." Every failure you survived gave birth to wisdom that comfort never could. Just as the sea polishes the roughest stone into smooth beauty, life uses struggle to refine your soul. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Every obstacle is an opportunity to practice virtue." And Nelson Mandela proved it. 27 years in a cell, yet he emerged with compassion, not bitterness. He said, "I learned that true freedom begins within." That's what a Stoic understands. Pain is not the end of you. It is the beginning of who you are meant to become. Why are you bringing this up now? The question that ends manipulation. This response is quiet, simple, and devastatingly effective. No anger, no sarcasm, just genuine curiosity. Why are you bringing this up now? With that one question, the entire balance of power shifts. Suddenly, they are the ones exposed, forced to confront their own intentions. Because if their motive was love, your question invites reflection. But if it was to wound, your calmness becomes their mirror. Epictetus wrote, The one who harms others is already in pain. Those who dig up your past are often trying to escape their present. They can't stand your peace because it reminds them of their chaos. So when you ask that question softly, you turn the light toward them, and they have nowhere to hide. That is how a Stoic wins. Without shouting, without defense, without hatred. Just truth, still and unbothered. The art of silent power. In a world where everyone is loud, silence has become the rarest form of strength. The Stoic knows that silence is not surrender, it is strategy. When someone tries to provoke you, every impulsive word is a gift you hand to them. Seneca warned, "The one who enjays you conquers you." You might lose an argument by staying silent, but you keep your peace, and that's the only victory that matters. Someone once told me, "You never react. It makes people afraid of you." I smiled and said, "I don't want them to fear me. I just want peace within myself." True power is not about being right. It's about being centered. No one can drag you into the mud unless you step down willingly. If they mock your past, smile. If they twist your story, stay calm. If they seek a reaction, give them stillness. You owe no explanation for chapters you've already healed from. Let your peace speak louder than your defense ever could. Marcus Aurelius taught, when someone acts wrongly, it is because they do not know what is right. Teach them not through words, but through behavior. And sometimes, silence is the loudest lesson of all, redefining the past. We all carry versions of ourselves we're not proud of. The impulsive one, the broken one, the one who didn't know better. But without them, we wouldn't have learned compassion, patience, or resilience. A person who once struggled with addiction can now guide others toward freedom. A person who failed in business can teach others how to succeed. A heart once betrayed can become a living example of forgiveness. That's the alchemy of the soul, turning darkness into light, pain into power, wounds into wisdom. The Stoic doesn't erase the past. They transform it. They polish it until it becomes a mirror that reflects their evolution. Hun Dieng, the Stoic way to end the story. People will try to use your past to pull you down, not because you are weak, but because your growth threatens their comfort. Your rise reminds them of the work they haven't done. Your peace reflects the chaos they still carry. They don't attack because you're broken. They attack because you've healed. So remember 3 truths. Acknowledge your past without shame. Turn every mistake into a lesson, not a life sentence. Ask questions instead of reacting. That's how a Stoic wins. Not through noise, not through defense, but through dignity. You don't have to prove your change. Those who see your light already know. Those who refuse, no explanation will ever be enough. One day, someone will bring up your past again, and you'll smile, not in pride, not in pain, but in peace, because you finally understand. I am not what happened to me. I am how I chose to rise from it. That is the essence of true freedom. Not forgetting your past, but walking beside it, unchained. And when someone tries to drag you back into an old chapter, just smile and say, "Thank you. But I've already finished that part of the story." Then turn the page, calm, steady, untouchable. Like a true Stoic,